Okay, and we're live on The Niche Agent. So today we've got a great guest. It's Lisa Archer from Charlotte, North Carolina with Keller Williams. So Lisa, why don't you take a quick second and tell us a bit about yourself and why you're here?
Well, thank you for having me, number one. And I am Lisa Archer. I am the COO, as I like to say, the Chief Opportunity Officer with Live Love at Keller Williams. We are now currently expanding our team, and we are in 8 markets, and would love to share that with you.
Awesome. So yeah, we brought you on. You are kind of helping pioneer a new movement in the real estate industry. So you are spearheading one of the agent expansion systems. Can you kind of explain what that is for people so if they haven't heard of it or want to know a little bit more about it?
All right. Well, basically, as you said, I am with Keller Williams, and our founder, Gary Keller, has really been talking about and helping us to think bigger, not think so small. And one of the things that we've been talking about in Pioneering a Mastermind is agent expansion. Well, basically, it's you have your home team. My home team is in Charlotte. It's called the Hub. And basically what we're doing is we are developing systems and models and lead generation for the home team, and then we are going into different markets and expanding there with new expansion teams that are still utilizing the services, systems, and models and lead generation from the home team.
Yeah, and this is
in a nutshell.
This is a huge thing because I know, like, as a fellow Keller Williams agent, Keller Williams kind of wrote the book on teams, and now they're kind of rewriting the book with this agent expansion. And a lot of people don't even know what it is, but you guys are light years ahead of most people, because I know a lot of people don't even get the team thing yet. So I want to kind of delve in deeper with this and kind of why you're doing it and how you're doing it and help people understand. So when you grew your team, how long have you been in the business, first off?
I'm in my 8th year in real estate.
Okay, so
I've had my license for 8 years.
Okay, and prior to that, what were you doing outside of real estate?
Prior to that, I was a manager at a bank, and after I had my second child, decided that I wanted a more flexible schedule for my growing family, and decided that I was going to go in real estate.
That was a wise choice. Well, hopefully it was a wise choice.
It was a wise choice, actually.
So when you went on your own, obviously you did it. You didn't have a team, or I don't know if you had the team set in mind, but how long did it take for you to go from being on your own to getting that first team member?
Well, so I was lucky in the fact that my dad had been in real estate for 2 years prior to my joining Keller Williams. And I got into real estate, got my license I almost took a year off after when I left the bank, and was learning real estate, working on his systems, making phone calls, more of an assistant role to him, and then decided, no, I'm really the salesperson. I mean, that's what my job was at the bank. I managed and did small loans and whatever for clients. And so sales is my background. It's my thing. And decided I was going to run the team, which was fine for him because he was so excited. He would much rather be in the admin role, and learning personality and behavior. He's much more suited to do that. I'm much more suited to be the salesperson. And basically, within a year, we flipped. And we did not hire any more staff. So fast forward a year or two, I had another baby, my youngest, who's now 6, and about a year after that's when I was at a conference and really heard, okay, you need to be running a business, not just selling real estate, and everything changed. So about a year after that, we hired our first buyer's agent. We actually hired 2. A couple months after that, we hired our 3rd, and we have not slowed down since then.
And you guys are definitely growing at a steady pace. So
we are cooking with gas now.
That's good. So I know you said you had that aha moment when you realized you had to have it as a business. How did you skyrocket through that? Because I know a lot of people can get stuck in just getting that initial bugs out, trying to get that, figuring out that team thing. So what was it that happened to help you go from being with you and your dad and
Well,
having that small team to really rocking?
So this was the end of 2010, and the market was still really bad. And it was either, I'd come to the point that it was like, okay, I can make enough money to stay afloat, but I was not making enough money to, go on vacation. And it was really a job.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided, for my small children and my husband, and, I wanted to have a life and not just go to work. So I hired a coach, and, within a couple of months, he's like, you have to hire a buyer's agent. You have to hire a buyer's agent. And I was, under the same mindset that most agents are. Oh, no, I can do it so much better. Well, that's not true, okay? My buyer's agents do it way better than I do. Probably I don't even know that they do it better than probably I ever did it at the highest level. Like, they do it that well every day. But then again, I've surrounded myself with top-notch talent, and they do it better. Then I hired 2 buyer's agents, and you don't want to give up the commission yet. You need to go out and get listings so you can have more buyers. Mm-hmm. And I made that decision. Okay, I'm going to be the listing agent. They're going to work with all the buyers. We did that for a couple of years. We got big enough, and we're closing enough deals that I could hire a listing agent. And then I stepped into the completely managerial role. And once we were doing enough business again, I replaced myself again, and we hired. I hired someone who was just running the Charlotte team, and we did that for about 18 months, and she's been with for almost 2 years next month. She'll be with 2 years next month. And long story short, she's now the CEO of our expansion. So, the thing that I'm looking at now is the people that we're coming into business with or going into business with. They're the right person if they're coming into the job day one looking for their replacement so they can go to the next level. Mm-hmm. And that's the type of people that we're hiring.
So then what happened for that transition to go from the team locally to really wanting to expand into other areas and do that?
Well, I've been lucky in a couple of the relationships that I've had over the last couple of years in that my business partner that I teach with, she is from Pinehurst. So she's from a city that's about an hour and a half from Charlotte, and she was an agent there. She hired an agent to take over the day-to-day there in Pinehurst, and we rolled Level of Pinehurst into being managed through the Charlotte team. And basically that's where it started, and then we said, okay, if we can do it one place, we can do it a second. And so since January, we have Pinehurst rolled in January, and since then we've 6 more teams.
Wow.
Or 6 more locations, yeah.
So I know a lot of people have enough trouble trying to run their own team. Obviously, having that kind of expansion must come with its own headaches and uphill battles, I'm sure. And you've done it in such a quick time. So what kind of things that are different that come up with that?
Well, when you leave one MLS and you go into another MLS, there's a headache there. Mm-hmm. And you've got to make the decision, okay, are you going to have one website, or are you going to have a website for each location, or are you going to try to have it all in one place? We are lucky enough that we have a partnership with Curator, and we have one website that covers all expansion teams. Now, that's not to say that we don't have daily headaches with the IDX and the MLS boards, putting one IDX with another IDX with another IDX. Mm-hmm. You get one approval. You go to the second. They want to change something. You've got to go, So that's a lot of the behind the scenes. So that's not necessarily easy. It's simple enough. It's not easy. Different state laws. We're in 4 states. So every state has different laws regarding real estate, whether it's signs or if it's websites or it's the name of the brokerage or it's the name on the sign, or they have to have certain phone numbers on the sign or certain size. Every state is different, and you have to go in and research those things and, find out what is allowed, what's not allowed, and then just, know that you're probably going to have to change some things. Some of the other things you got to consider are how does it work with the, we call them expansion partners, so the agent that leads the expansion team in the new city.
Mm-hmm.
How does it work with their office versus your office? What is their cap structure versus, how does it come back to the hub? Who's ordering, or who are their vendors going to be? So who's ordering pictures, or who's going to do their measuring of their houses, or who's their warranty company, or whatever the case may be. It's going to be different,
mm-hmm.
of course, once you leave your city. And so that's a lot of the things you got to think about and find out prior to just launching.
So, other than total world domination, then what is the why behind doing this? Then,
well, so my big why has been to, for my children to be able to go to college and to have the things that they want to have, and to be able to vacation several weeks with my family, some things that we've not, always been able to do. And now in the expansion, it's really to have the relationships with those people that are in the expansion teams, to be able for them now to have those same things. We got to go on a cruise last year, and we got to do this, and, whatever the case may be. So whatever their big whys, I want to be able to help them fund their big whys.
Mm-hmm. So the driving force, is it to totally take you out of the business eventually? Is it something you want to just keep growing and getting more involved in? Like, what's your long-term plan with this then?
Not having, not that I don't have an end game, but I am having so much fun with this. It's funny, I was telling somebody the other day, this is not what I was thinking whenever I first heard the word expansion. I was like, oh, we can duplicate, we'll just have another Live Love X city.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's actually a lot more fun and a lot more exciting, and getting out to meet, new agents and new people, and, to see the light bulb go off in their head, and they're like, oh, I can do this. And I set a goal today for our listing team in the different cities for we are doing a 90-day challenge, and it's 270 listings in 90 days.
Wow.
Even if we fall short, they're going to knock it out of the park.
Yep. And that helps everybody.
So I'm super excited. They're all, it's funny, six of the 8 locations are going to be in a Keller Williams course called BOLD, Business Objective Life by Design, all at the same time. One started yesterday, one started today, and one starts tomorrow. So 6 of the 8 expansion cities are going to be in BOLD at the same time, and that's going to be a lot of fun. The other 2 just graduated, so they just happen to not be at the same time, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
That's a fantastic course. Even if you're not with Keller Williams, I suggest the listeners, be checking it out, because it's a phenomenal and a game changer.
It is. That's actually the course I was sitting in when I decided I'm really going to do this, and boom.
It helps with the mindset for sure. So
it does,
you'd mentioned you're in 8 areas, and what areas are those?
All right, so home base, of course, is Charlotte, and then we have the Triad, which is like Greensboro, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Then we're in the Triangle, which is Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill. We're in Pinehurst, Fayetteville, North Carolina. That's the Carolinas. That's the 5 Carolinas. Then we have we're in Central New York, so Syracuse, Hamilton area. And that happened. I was not planning on going to New York. That would not been any. Central New York would not have been something we're going to. We had an agent that was on my team in Charlotte. Actually, she was on my BOLD team in Charlotte 3.5 years ago, and she had to move to Central New York for personal reasons, and she was running the showing agent model. She was our buyer's agent up there with a showing agent, and long story short, we finally were like, why are we not doing the Live Love here? And we researched it all, so we knew it was going to be a little bit tougher because New York is very strict. We had to change some things, do things a little bit differently. And she's now, I think officially we've been Live Love Central New York for probably about 30 days, and I think she's got 3 or 4 listings and a couple things on her contract. So far, so good. It's a much more rural area than I've ever marketed in. So it's a learning process, changing things, doing up a little bit. She does a lot more door knocking. She does, there's more farming involved. There's not as much relying on the internet, even though we do a lot of that because that's my background. But she's doing a great job. And then, let's see, Kansas City. We had somebody that really, really wanted to join us, and we did. And we've got 2 people in Kansas City now, and they've got several listings. They've about 45 days. And then we have an agent that was in the Kansas City market that moved to Sacramento, California. So we now have a Sacramento team.
Wow.
They're almost up and running. She just got her license in California. Again, very different, very long process. And something, California and New York have very different state laws. So it takes a little bit longer to close something. It takes a little bit longer to get your license. And but it's been fun.
Good. And that's important, because if you're not having fun, what's the point of doing it?
Absolutely.
So then how do you choose the areas, and how do you choose the people who are leading those?
A lot of a choice for the area, it's much easier to expand locally. So say you're in South Charlotte, where my office is, it would be much easier to expand into North Charlotte or on the lake or down in Fort Mill, because we have dual licensing here for North and South Carolina. It would be much easier to do something like that, whereas you're in the same MLS, you're in the same, all the same laws apply. You can utilize all of your closing processes and people and admin staff. But the way ours has happened, it's been a little bit different. It wouldn't be if I had to choose it over again. Not that I would change it, but I don't. That wouldn't have necessarily been what I had put on paper as far as expansion. So we've kind of had some of the areas come to us, and that's happening now more and more. Somebody will call and say, "I would love for you to consider us as an expansion partner. We're in X city." So we have an initial conversation, see if they have like-minded values, and culture is huge for us. I can honestly say the last 4 or 5 people we've gotten out of business with were all culture issues. Unless somebody moved or they were completely getting out of the business for one reason or another, the only reason, the biggest reason for me to not be in business with somebody anymore is a culture issue. I am very careful now when we do our hiring. We have a very long process, not long process, but a very intensive process. It's called Recruit Select. We honestly are recruiting people. We want them to select us as well. We want to get to know them very well. Behavior is important. And we just, they've got to be like-minded. They've got to be very opportunity-driven. They've got to be able to see the big picture and not think that they've got to be able to think, oh, this is what I'm getting, not what I'm losing. Just that type of person is very, I would say, attractive to our business model and the way that, we're building Live Love. So we're open to locations. We're interviewing several people in a couple of weeks that I can say off the top of my head I know of, and going through the process and seeing if they're the right people for us and if we're right for them. Because sometimes it's both.
Yeah, everyone has to be mutually on the same page, otherwise it's not going to work.
Absolutely.
So then obviously there's 2 sides to it, is that from running it from the hub side of it, where you're behind the scenes, but also from the person running that team. So what are the benefits to them, and what are the benefits to you to run something like that then?
Well, basically the benefits for them are, I have proven lead generation models. I have proven systems. I can take those things that most lead agents don't want to do. I'm going to take the paperwork off their hands. I'm going to take the contract to close off their hands. I'm going to do the lead generation, and then they're going to be able to do the follow-up. Not that I don't want them out knocking doors if they're not, if their goal was 5 listing appointments per week and they got 3 from the lead generation, they're going to need to do their own lead generation to get those other two listing appointments, whether that's door knocking or going to the mall and meeting people, or, you know, talking to everybody that they could possibly talk to, or call all their past clients and ask for referrals. You know, there's always things that they can do if they're not hitting their goals. But for the most part, I'm taking that 80% that keeps them from doing their lead generation and their appointments and moving and putting that next sign in the yard or putting the next buyer under contract. I'm taking away that 80% that they're not happy doing in most cases, and letting them do the 20% of the things that are going to make them money, and, you know, transfer keys from buyer to or seller to buyer and go on to the next client. So that's the benefit to them, and get in there faster.
Right.
So say they had a goal of, you know, 100 to sell 100 homes. Well, they're going to have to hire 1 or 2 admin people plus probably a buyer's agent to get to that, and they're going to get there much quicker because I'm going to take most of that away from them.
Yep.
And where they're out literally doing their one thing, which is selling. And
they don't have to learn the systems and the coaching. I know there was an agent friend of mine who was on a team and wanted to leave on the team, but he had 2 admins and a bunch of people that were support staff. Now, if he was to go out on his own, he has to learn to first he has to hire all those people, then learn to coach them, learn to train them, keep them on top, and go through all that. And that alone would take months and months of time and energy.
Absolutely. And our extension partners, they have a weekly coaching call with our CEO, who's also got a coach who, you know, basically they're being coached by someone who's got a, you know, business mindset and a background, and she can share experiences and can answer their questions. I mean, not that they can't talk to her any other time, but they get a, you know, one-on-one coaching call weekly, wherein, you know, basically, you know, what did you do this week? What, you know, what were your frustrations, or what were your successes? What can we do to build on this? Let's change. You know, you hit your goals, great. Let's set new ones. So there's, you know, that's a lot. That's a huge piece, I think, for them. They love that. Of course, and then they have access to me. We do a lot of private Facebook groups, like secret Facebook groups. It'd be very hard to find them because according to Facebook, they don't exist. They're secret. We have a listing group, and we mastermind in there. We have a buyer's group. We mastermind in there. We have, each division has their own group of mastermind. We have a huge, you know, a big one where we all mastermind. And then I've got a prospecting group where I've pulled in some of the brightest minds in the real estate industry, friends of mine, and they have access to them as well. So there's a lot of, and, you know, I'm always, I made a video the other day for MAPS coaching that I am a serial learner, and I am always at a conference or on a coaching call or on a webinar, or not always, but, you know, at least once a month. Yeah. I'm somewhere masterminding with somebody who's doing more than I am. And they, you know, the 5 people that you hang out with the most, that's going to be the, add those up, divide by 5, that's going to be the level of your thinking. So if you want to be a $100,000 thinker, hang around people that average that. I don't. The people that I hang out with, like Mark Spain, Ben Kinney, Krista, some of those people that, I mean, it's amazing what they make. So my thinking, I don't even know, there's not a cap on it.
That's good.
And I love, you know, and that's what I'm trying to rub off as much as I can on them. And I think that's a huge benefit to the expansion partners.
Yep. So I want to play devil's advocate just for a second, because I know I'm on your side, so I get it. But I know a lot of agents think that they're the brand, that they're the ones that has to be there. And if you are coming in, no one knows who you are, and what's the value of having you come in there. So what can you say to people who say, like, no one knows who you are if you were to take over a new area, and what can you bring to it?
Well, when we go into a new expansion city, or we go into a new expansion city, and I'll give you an example. Shauna runs our expansion team in the Triad to the Greensboro, Winston-Salem market, and she's been with us for 60 days. We immediately, when we start our lead generation there, we are going after sellers. We are going after signs in the yard. We are going after, we are not going after buyers. We are going after sellers. And I know this will be a hot topic of debate. You need to most people think, oh, you need to go and make money day one with buyers. Well, that's not going to saturate the market.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to let people know who we are. That's going to let a couple of buyers know who we are, and that's it. So what we've done is literally we go in and we pound for sellers. In 60 days, she has 25 listings.
Wow.
And 10 pending that are about to go on the market.
Wow.
And she's already sold 4. She has already closed 4.
Wow.
So in 60 days, right at 30 listings.
So, and that proves it. You don't have to be in the business for 30 years in that area and know everybody and to do that. So
she's not even had a license a year.
That's great. So what is it what are you guys doing then? What strategies are you using other than the online stuff, or is that the core of it?
Ours is our core going after that is she was hot and heavy. She was going to go knock on doors. She started having so many listing appointments. I don't think she's knocked on the first door yet. And she has upped her goals twice.
Yeah.
Because she's hit them both.
It's a good problem to have.
It's a great problem. I was in Bold with her yesterday, so she is taking Bold again.
Yeah, I tell people I've taken it 3 times now, and I tell people to take it as many times as you can because I
start my 4th tomorrow.
It's a good one. So where do you see the future of your expansion going, and where do you see the future of expansions in general going?
I do not see a limit on expansion. I don't. I think if we find the right person, or as we call it, the right who, if we find the right who in the right place with the right mindset, with the right team leader, and know that we can start putting signs in the yard, I don't see a limit on where we can go. I can see us having an expansion team just about anywhere.
Just stay out of my area. That's all I ask.
You want to join us?
No, I can't.
I wouldn't be a good leader if I didn't ask.
Hey, and so I was going to ask you can I put it out there to the audience, and if someone is interested, or it might be something that might pique their interest or want to find out information, can I have them reach out to you to discuss it? Because we have listeners all across. So.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on Facebook, Lisa Archer, Twitter @Lisa Archer, and my email address is. Actually, I'm going to give you Denise's email address. Denise is our CEO of Expansion. She has forbidden me to have the first conversation because I get excited. So I'm not going to get myself in trouble today by giving out my email address. Her email address is Denise, DENISE, Love Realty @gmail.com.
Okay. And we'll put all that in the show notes, so if people want to connect with you, they can find that there.
Perfect.
So can you give one last parting piece of advice then for our listeners if this is something they're interested in or just want to find out more information, what they can look forward to?
Absolutely. I would just say it's not scary. It's been a lot of fun. Expansion is not for everyone. And the one thing I will say, if you do not have your systems and models and lead generation systems completely in place for your hub team, it's not something you want to do yet. That doesn't mean you're not ever going to do it. It's just that's where you need to look internally first. Make sure that you are lead generating, 2 to 3 hours a day for yourself before you start to grow a team. Much less go the expansion route. But it's a lot of fun, and if you want to speak to some of the expansion agents we have, it'd be great. And any questions at all, just let me know.
Awesome. Well, we'll filter them, and then you'll eventually get them if they're good.
Awesome.
Okay. So, again, thank you for being on the show, Lisa. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing where you take off to and touch base in a few months, and who knows what cities you'll be in.
Thank you.
Thanks for being on.
You're welcome.